Welcome to the Wisdom and Blessing channel. Tonight, we explore the gentle truth that the world continues even when you stop. Let yourself settle here in this quiet moment. There is nowhere you need to go, nothing you need to understand. Just rest and let these words wash over you like water moving slowly downstream. You are walking along a riverbank in the early evening. The light is soft, neither day nor night, just the in-between time when the world begins to quiet itself. The river moves beside you, steady and unhurried, and you can hear the sound of it, a whisper that never stops, never rushes, just flows. There are trees leaning over the water, their branches reaching down as if they want to touch the surface but never quite do. The leaves are turning, some still green, others gold and rust and amber, and as you walk, you notice that they are falling, not all at once, but one by one, in no particular pattern, drifting down from the branches and landing on the water without sound. You stop walking and stand very still. A leaf falls just in front of you, spinning slowly as it descends, turning in the air as if it's dancing with something invisible. It touches the water and the river takes it, carries it away, and you watch it move downstream, becoming smaller and smaller until you can't see it anymore. Another leaf falls, and another, and you realize that this has been happening all along, even before you arrived, even before you noticed. The leaves have been falling into the river for hours, for days, and the river has been carrying them away. And none of it needed you to be here watching. You sit down on the bank, the earth cool beneath you, and you let your breathing slow. The river does not look at you. It does not acknowledge your presence. It simply continues the way it has always continued, the way it will continue long after you leave this place. A monk once sat beside a river like this one, watching leaves fall, and someone asked him what he was doing. He did not answer with words. He simply pointed to the water, to the leaves, moving on its surface, and the person understood or did not understand, and it made no difference to the river. You think about the things you are holding, not with your hands, but with your mind, the things you carry every day, the thoughts that circle and return, the worries that you wake with and sleep with, the small, persistent fears that you do not name, but feel in your chest, in your shoulders, in the tightness behind your eyes. What would happen if you let them go? Not by force, not by trying to push them away, but simply by opening your hands and allowing them to fall the way the leaves fall from the branches, without effort, without struggle, without needing to understand why. You watch another leaf touch the water. The river accepts it without question, without judgment, without deciding whether this leaf is worthy of being carried. It simply takes it and moves it along, and the leaf does not resist, does not try to swim back to the tree, does not cling to the place it came from. The world continues even when you stop. This is not a sad thing. It is not a lonely thing. It is simply the way things are, the way they have always been. The river does not stop flowing because you are tired. The leaves do not stop falling because you're afraid. The night does not stop coming because you are not ready. You hear the sound of a bell in the distance, very faint, perhaps from a temple somewhere beyond the trees. It rings once, and the sound moves through the air like the ripples move through the water when a leaf lands, spreading outward, touching everything, and then fading into silence. A temple sits on a hillside, not far from here, though you cannot see it. Inside, a monk is lighting candles, one by one, placing them on an altar that has held candles for 100 years, for 1,000 years. The monk does not think about the people who lit candles here before him, or the people who will light them after he is gone. He simply lights each candle, watches the flames settle, and moves to the next one. This is the practice of letting things continue without you, not abandoning them, not turning away, but understanding that they do not need your constant attention, your constant control, your constant presence to keep existing. You think of your own life, the routines and rhythms, the people and places, the small responsibilities that feel so heavy when you carry them all at once. What if they could continue without your hands gripping them so tightly? What if, like the river, they could simply flow and you could trust that they would not disappear, would not fall apart, would not need you to hold them together every moment? The leaves keep falling. You count them for a while. 1, 2, 3, and then you lose count, and it does not matter. They fall whether you count them or not, whether you notice them or not, whether you are here or not. A bird lands on a branch above you, a small dark shape against the dimming sky. It stands there for a moment, shifts its weight from one foot to the other, and then it flies away, disappearing into the trees. You did not call it to you. You did not ask it to stay. It came, it rested, it left, and the world continued. You imagine yourself as one of these leaves, held to the branch by something thin and fragile, something that will eventually let go, not because you want it to, but because that is what happens. And when you fall, the river will be there, not waiting for you, but simply there, moving as it always has, ready to carry you without needing to be asked. There is a kind of freedom in this, though it is not the freedom you might expect. It is not the freedom of control, of choosing exactly where you go and how you get there. It is the freedom of surrender, of letting the current take you, of trusting that the river knows the way even when you do not. The monk in the temple finishes lighting the candles and sits down on a cushion in the center of the room. He closes his eyes and listens to the silence, the kind of silence that is not empty, but full of the sounds that are always there if you are quiet enough to hear them. The creak of wood, the flutter of a moth near the candles, the distant sound of the river, always the river. He breathes in and he breathes out, and he does not try to make his breath do anything other than what it is already doing. He does not hold it, does not force it, does not measure it. He simply lets it move through him the way the river moves through the valley, the way the wind moves through the trees, the way time moves through all things, steady and unhurried and unstoppable. You try this now, sitting by the river, breathing in the cool evening air, breathing out the warmth from your body. You feel your chest rise and fall, and you notice that it happens without you deciding, without you planning each breath, without you needing to remember. Your body knows how to breathe, the way the river knows how to flow, the way the leaves know how to fall. What else does not need your constant attention? What else could you trust to continue without you holding it so tightly? Another leaf falls, and you watch it land on the water, watch the river take it and carry it around a bend, out of sight. You do not follow it. You do not need to know where it goes. You simply let it go. river does what the river does. And you remain here, sitting on the bank, watching, breathing, being. The sky is darker now, the blue deepening into purple, into the first hint of black. Stars are beginning to appear, small and distant, and you look up at them. These tiny lights that have been shining for longer than you can imagine, that will continue shining long after you are gone. And this thought does not frighten you. It settles something inside you, something that has been restless, something that has been searching for permission to rest. The world continues even when you stop. The stars do not need you to look at them to keep shining. The river does not need you to listen to it to keep flowing. The leaves do not need you to count them to keep falling. You think of the people in your life, the ones you love, the ones you worry about, the ones you try to protect and guide and keep safe. What if they too are like the river, capable of continuing without your constant vigilance, your constant effort, your constant fear? What if they are stronger than you imagine, more resilient, more able to flow around the obstacles in their path? This does not mean you do not care. It does not mean you turn away. It means you trust, the way you trust the river to carry the leaves, the way you trust the night to come, the way you trust your own breath to move through you without needing to be reminded. A memory surfaces unbidden of a time when you tried to hold on to something too tightly and it slipped through your fingers anyway. You remember the feeling of loss, the ache of it, the way it felt like failure. But now, sitting here by the river, you wonder if it was not failure at all, but simply the way things are, the way leaves fall, the way rivers flow, the way everything eventually moves on. The monk in the temple opens his eyes and looks at the candles. Some of them have burned lower than others. Some flicker more, some stand straight and still. He does not try to make them all the same. He simply watches them, each one doing what a candle does, burning until it is done. You stand up slowly, your body a little stiff from sitting, and you begin to walk again along the riverbank. The path is familiar now, even in the growing darkness. Your feet know where to step. Your body knows how to move forward without you telling it every detail. As you walk, you pass a tree whose branches are heavy with leaves, and you wonder when they will fall, and you realize it does not matter. They will fall when they are ready, when the season changes, when the wind blows just right, when the branch can no longer hold them. And when they fall, the river will be there, or the ground will catch them, or the wind will carry them somewhere else, and none of it will require your presence, your approval, your understanding. You think about control, the word itself, the feeling of it, the way it promises safety and delivers only exhaustion. You have been trying to control so much for so long, holding things together with your mind, with your will, with your constant attention. But here, by this river, in this quiet evening, you feel the possibility of another way. What if you could be like the river itself, moving but not forcing, flowing but not controlling, accepting what comes and carrying it for a while, and then letting it go. The air is cooler now, and you pull your arms around yourself, not from cold, but from a kind of tenderness, a gentle acknowledgement of your own presence here in this moment, in this place. You are here, but the world does not revolve around you. It continues vast and indifferent and beautiful. And there is comfort in this, strange as it seems. You remember a story. Perhaps you heard it once, or perhaps you are inventing it now, about a woman who spent her whole life trying to build a wall around a garden to keep it safe. She worked every day, carrying stones, stacking them carefully, filling in every gap, but the wind still blew seeds over the wall, and plants grew that she did not plant, and insects came and went, and rain fell when she did not want it to, and the garden continued, wild and uncontrolled, beautiful in ways she had not planned. One day, she stopped building the wall. She sat down in the middle of the garden and looked around, and she saw that it had never needed the wall. It had always been growing, always changing, always becoming something new. And her wall had only kept her busy, had only given her the illusion that she was in charge. You walk past another tree, and a leaf falls just beside you, so close you could reach out and catch it. But you do not. You let it fall, let it land on the ground, soft and silent, and you keep walking. The temple bell rings again, fainter now, or perhaps you are farther away. The sound reaches you and fades, and you do not try to hold on to it. Do not try to keep it in your ears. You let it come, let it go, the way you are learning to let everything come and go without grasping, without clinging, without the exhausting effort of trying to make things stay. There is a bench ahead, old and weathered, placed here by someone long ago, and you sit down on it. The wood is smooth under your hands, worn by years of rain and sun and the touch of other people who have sat here, watching the river, watching the leaves fall, watching the light change. You sit and you breathe, and you feel the gentle presence of everything around you continuing. The river flows, the leaves fall, the stars emerge one by one in the sky above. The world does not pause for your uncertainty, your fear, your need to understand. It simply continues, and you are part of it, small and temporary, like the leaves, like the ripples on the water, like the sound of the bell fading into distance. A monk walks along a path somewhere in the darkness, carrying a lantern, the small light swaying as he walks. He is not going anywhere important. He is simply walking, placing one foot in front of the other, trusting that the path will be there, that the ground will hold him, that he does not need to see the entire way ahead to keep moving. You think about tomorrow, the things you will need to do, the responsibilities waiting for you, and you feel the familiar tightness in your chest, the weight of it all. But then you remember the river, the way it does not stop to worry about the stones in its path, the way it simply flows around them, over them, continuing without hesitation, without fear. What if you could move through your days like this, not without care, but without the constant grinding effort of trying to control every outcome, every detail, every possibility? Another leaf falls into the river, and you watch it float past, turning slowly in the current. It does not try to swim back upstream. It does not cling to the rocks along the bank. It simply allows itself to be carried. And in this allowing, there is a kind of grace. The sky is fully dark now, the stars bright and clear, and the river reflects them. Tiny points of light on the moving water, appearing and disappearing as the surface shifts. You cannot hold these reflections. You cannot keep them still. They are there, and then they are not, and then they are there again. And this is how everything is, if you look closely enough. You close your eyes and listen. The sound of the river, always the sound of the river, a constant presence, a reminder that some things continue without needing your participation, your permission, your presence. The monk in the temple blows out the candles one by one, the same way he lit them, with care but without attachment. The smoke rises from each wick, thin and curling, and then it dissolves into the air, and the candle is dark, and he moves to the next one. You open your eyes and stand, ready to leave this place, ready to return to wherever you came from. But you carry something with you now, a small understanding, a quiet shift in the way you see things. The world continues even when you stop. The river flows even when you are not watching. The leaves fall even when you are not counting. This is not a loss. This is not abandonment. This is simply the truth of how things are. And in seeing it, in accepting it, you find that you can breathe a little easier, that the weight you have been carrying feels a little lighter, that the constant vigilance you have demanded of yourself can soften just a little, just enough. You walk away from the river, back through the trees, and the sound of the water fades behind you. But it does not stop. It continues, flowing through the valley, under the stars, past the temple where the monk sits in silence, past the places you will never see, past the moments you will never know, and it does not need you to witness it, to understand it, to hold it in your mind. You think of sleep, the way it comes when you stop trying, when you let go of the day, when you allow your body to rest and your mind to drift. You cannot force sleep. You cannot control it. You can only create the conditions for it. And then you must surrender, must trust that it will come, that your body knows what to do, that you do not need to manage every moment of rest. The path ahead is dark, but your feet find the way. You do not need to see everything. You do not need to know what is coming. You simply move forward, one step and then another, and the ground holds you, and the night surrounds you, and somewhere behind you, the river continues to flow. The leaves continue to fall. The world continues, vast and indifferent and beautiful, and you are part of it, and you are separate from it, and both things are true. A monk once said that the river does not ask permission to flow. The mountain does not ask permission to stand. The leaf does not ask permission to fall. They simply are, and in their being, they teach something that cannot be taught with words, something that can only be understood by watching, by listening, by allowing yourself to be present without needing to control. You reach the edge of the trees and pause, looking back one last time. You cannot see the river from here, but you can hear it, faint and steady, a whisper beneath all other sounds. You stand very still, breathing in the night air, breathing out the day, and you feel something release inside you, something you did not know you were holding. The world continues, even when you stop. This is the gift, the strange and gentle gift. You do not have to hold it all together. You do not have to keep everything moving. You can rest. You can step back. You can close your eyes and let things be what they are. And nothing will fall apart. Nothing will end. Nothing will be lost that was not already meant to let go. You turn and walk on into the darkness, into the night, and the river flows behind you, and the leaves fall around you, and the stars shine above you, and everything continues, everything moves, everything changes, and you are learning slowly, quietly, without force, to let it. The temple is silent now, the candles dark, the monk sitting in stillness. He is not waiting for anything. He is not hoping for anything. He is simply present, breathing, being, allowing the night to be night, the silence to be silence, the darkness to be darkness, and you, wherever you are, whatever you are holding, whatever you are afraid to let go, you can rest now. You can trust that the world will continue. The people you love will find their way. The things you cannot control will unfold as they must. The river will flow, the leaves will fall, the stars will shine, and you can stop just for now, just for this moment. You can rest your hands, open your grip, soften your shoulders, close your eyes. You can breathe in and breathe out and let yourself be carried the way the leaves are carried on the water, the way the sound of the bell is carried through the air, the way everything eventually is carried forward by something larger than itself, something that does not need to be named or understood or controlled. The world continues, the night deepens, the river flows, and you finally can rest. You are lying down now, though you do not remember when you decided to lie down. Perhaps you are in your bed, or perhaps you are still by the river, resting on the cool earth with the sound of water nearby. It does not matter. Your body knows how to rest, the way the earth knows how to hold you, the way the darkness knows how to settle around you like a blanket. Your breathing has slowed without you noticing. Each breath comes a little deeper, a little softer, and you do not have to think about it. Your lungs fill and empty, the way the river fills and empties into the ocean, the way the moon fills and empties across the month, and none of it requires your decision. Somewhere, a dog is barking in the distance, and then it stops. Somewhere, a door closes. Somewhere, someone is walking home, their footsteps quiet on a dusty path. The world is full of these small sounds, these small movements, and they all continue whether you hear them or not, whether you acknowledge them or not. A monk walks through a garden in the middle of the night, unable to sleep, and he does not worry about his sleeplessness. He simply walks, feeling the cool air on his face, watching the shadows of branches against the wall, listening to the insects singing in the grass. He knows that sleep will come when it comes, that he cannot force it, that worrying about it only pushes it further away. So he walks and he breathes, and he lets his mind wander where it wants to wander, and after a while, his body grows heavy, and he returns to his room, and he lies down, and sleep finds him the way water finds the lowest place, naturally, without effort, without struggle. You feel this heaviness now, this gentle weight in your limbs, as if your body is slowly becoming part of the earth beneath you. Your legs grow still. Your arms rest at your sides, palms open, fingers loose. You are not holding anything. There is nothing to hold. The river moves in the darkness, and you can almost see it in your mind, the way the water catches the starlight, the way it flows over stones worn smooth by 1,000 years of touching, the way it carries everything that falls into it without judgment, without preference, without choosing what is worthy and what is not. A leaf that fell an hour ago is already far downstream, moving through places you will never see, passing under bridges, past sleeping villages, past fields where nothing grows in winter. The leaf does not know where it is going. It does not need to know. It simply moves, held by the current. And this is enough. You think of the things you have been carrying in your mind, the worries that circle like birds above a field, never quite landing, never quite leaving. You picture them now, one by one, and you imagine placing them on the surface of the water, watching the river take them, watching them float away into the darkness. This worry about tomorrow, you place it on the water. It spins slowly, catches the current, moves away. This fear about what someone thinks of you, you place it on the water. It drifts, turns, disappears around a bend. This regret about something you said or did not say, you place it on the water. The river accepts it without question, carries it away. One by one, you release them, not by force, not by pushing them away, but simply by allowing them to leave, by opening your hands and letting them go. And the river continues as it always has. And you remain here, lighter now, emptier now, in the way that empty vessels are ready to be filled with something new. The monk in his room is breathing slowly, deeply, his body completely still. He's not quite asleep yet, but he's not quite awake either. He is in that in-between place where thoughts become dreams, where the edges of things soften, where the boundaries between self and world begin to dissolve. He thinks of a teaching he heard once about how the ocean accepts all rivers, how it does not turn any of them away, how it takes the muddy water and the clear water, the fast streams and the slow ones, and it makes no distinction. The ocean simply receives, and in receiving, it remains vast, unchanged, always itself. You feel this vastness now, this sense of something larger than yourself, something that has been here before you arrived and will remain after you're gone. It is not a frightening vastness. It is a comforting one, like the feeling of being held by something you do not need to understand, something you can trust simply because it is. Your breath moves in and out, and you notice that there is a small pause between each breath, a tiny moment of stillness where nothing is happening, where you are neither breathing in nor breathing out, just suspended in a moment of pure quietness. You rest in these pauses, these small pockets of silence, and they grow longer, deeper, more restful. A candle burns in a shrine somewhere, though no one is watching it. The flame moves slightly in a draft that comes through a crack in the wall, and the light flickers across the face of a statue, across the offerings placed there, across the smooth wood floor. The candle does not know it is burning. It does not think about how long it will last. It simply burns, giving light, warming the small space around it until it is done. You think about purpose, about the need to be useful, to matter, to make a difference. You have carried this need for so long, this pressure to justify your existence, to prove that you are worth the space you take up in the world. But lying here now, breathing slowly, feeling the weight of your body against the earth, you wonder if this need is just another thing you can let go, another leaf you can place on the water. What if you do not need to justify anything? What if your existence, like the rivers flowing, like the candles burning, like the leaves falling, is already enough, already complete, already exactly what it needs to be? The monk in the garden once asked his teacher, "What is the purpose of a flower?" The teacher looked at him for a long moment and then said, "A flower does not have a purpose, it simply blooms. And in blooming, it is perfect. You are like this flower. You do not need a reason to be here. You do not need to accomplish something to deserve rest. You are already complete, already whole, already exactly where you need to be in this moment. Your eyes are closed now, or perhaps they were closed all along. Behind your eyelids, there is only darkness, soft, and warm and endless. You do not need to see anything. You do not need to know what is coming next. You can rest here in this darkness, trusting that it holds you, that it will not let you fall. Somewhere far away, another river flows through another valley, and another monk sits by another temple, and another person lies awake, wondering if they will ever learn to let go. The world is vast and full of these small moments, these small struggles, these small surrenders. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone. The stars above are the same stars that people saw 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. They are the same stars that will shine 1,000 years from now. They continue, constant and distant and beautiful, and they do not need you to look at them to keep shining. They do not need your attention, your understanding, your appreciation. They simply are. You can be like this too. You can simply be, without needing to prove anything, without needing to control anything, without needing to understand everything. You can rest in your own being, the way the stars rest in the sky, the way the river rests in its flowing, the way the earth rests in its turning. A memory surfaces of a time when you felt safe, truly safe, perhaps when you were very young, perhaps in someone's arms, or in a place that felt like home. You remember the feeling of it, not the details, just the sense of being held, of being protected, of not needing to worry because someone else, something else, was taking care of everything. You can have this feeling again, not because someone is holding you, but because you are learning to trust the world itself to hold you, to trust that you do not need to control everything to be safe, that you can let go and the world will continue, that you can rest and nothing will fall apart. The monk is asleep now, his breathing even and deep, his body completely still. He is dreaming of a garden, though he does not know he is dreaming. In the dream, he is planting seeds, but every time he places a seed in the ground, it immediately blooms into a flower, fully grown, fully open. He plants another, and the garden fills with flowers, and he is not surprised by this, not questioning it, just continuing to plant, to watch them bloom, to feel the quiet joy of it. You are drifting now, your thoughts becoming softer, less formed, less insistent. They come and go like clouds across the sky, appearing from nowhere, dissolving into nothing, and you do not try to hold on to them. You let them pass, the way you let the leaves fall, the way you let the river flow. There is a story about a woman who spent her whole life trying to build a house that would never decay, that would stand forever. She used the strongest materials, the best craftsmanship, and she checked every corner, every joint, every beam to make sure it was perfect. But one day, standing in her perfect house, she noticed a crack in the wall, just a small one, barely visible. She tried to fix it, but the next day there was another crack and another, and she realized that no matter how perfect she made it, the house would still decay, still change, still eventually fall. So she stopped trying to fix it. She stopped trying to make it last forever. She simply lived in the house, enjoyed it while it stood. And when the cracks grew larger, she did not mourn them. She saw them as part of the house's life, part of its journey from creation to dissolution. And she understood that everything, even the things we build with our own hands, must eventually return to the earth. Your body is like this house. It is temporary, changing, already in the process of returning to the elements it came from. And this is not sad. This is simply true. Your body knows this truth even when your mind resists it. Your body knows how to let go, how to rest, how to surrender to the natural rhythms of existence. You feel your heartbeat now, slow and steady, a rhythm that has been with you since before you were born, that will continue until the moment it stops. You do not control this rhythm. You do not tell your heart when to beat. It knows, the way the river knows how to flow, the way the earth knows how to turn. The night is deepest now, the hours when most people are sleeping, when the world is quietest, when even the restless minds begin to settle. The monk in the temple sleeps. The candles have burned down to nothing. The garden is still. The river flows on, tireless, endless, carrying everything that falls into it toward the ocean. You think of the ocean now, vast and dark and deep, a place where all rivers eventually arrive, where all waters become one water, where nothing is separate anymore, where everything dissolves into everything else. You imagine yourself floating in this ocean, not drowning, not struggling, just floating, held by the water, rocked by the gentle movement of waves. There is no shore in sight. There is no destination. There is only this floating, this being held, this surrender to something larger than yourself. And it is peaceful. It is restful. It is exactly where you need to be. Your thoughts are very faint now, like distant voices, like sounds from another room. You can barely hear them, and you do not need to hear them. They are saying things that do not matter anymore, things that seemed important hours ago, but now feel far away, unreal, like something from a dream you are already forgetting. A leaf falls into the river in complete darkness, and no one sees it fall. The river takes it anyway. The water does not need light to know how to flow. It moves in the darkness the same way it moves in the light, steady and sure and unhurried. You are this leaf now, falling in darkness, trusting that the river will catch you, that you do not need to see where you are going, that you can let go completely, and the current will carry you somewhere safe, somewhere you are meant to be, even if you cannot name it, even if you cannot picture it, even if you never arrive, but only keep moving, keep flowing, keep being carried forward by something that knows the way. The monk turns in his sleep, his hand moving slightly, his breath changing rhythm for a moment, and then settling again. He is deep in sleep now, deep in dreams, deep in the place where the mind rests and the body repairs itself, and all the worries of the day dissolve into nothing. You are going to this place too. You are already there, or almost there, hovering at the edge of it, feeling it pull you down like gravity, like the earth pulling everything toward its center, like the ocean pulling all rivers toward itself. You do not resist this pull. You allow it. You welcome it. You let yourself sink down, down, down into the soft darkness, into the quiet, into the place where thoughts stop, and there is only being, only breathing, only the gentle movement of life, continuing without effort, without control, without you needing to do anything at all. The world continues, the stars shine, the river flows, the leaves fall, and you rest, finally, deeply, completely, held by something you cannot name, but can feel all around you, within you, beneath you, supporting you, carrying you, letting you go, and catching you at the same time. Nothing is required of you now. Nothing needs your attention. Nothing needs your understanding. Everything is already happening, already continuing, already exactly as it needs to be. And you are part of this. You have always been part of this. You will always be part of this. The flowing and the resting, the holding and the releasing, the river and the leaf and the water and the shore. You are all of it and none of it. You are separate and connected. You are here and nowhere. You are awake and asleep and somewhere in between. And in this place, there is no fear. There is no need to control. There is no struggle. There is only the gentle movement of breath, the soft darkness, the quiet knowing that you can let go now, that you can stop now, that you can rest. The world will continue. The night will pass. The morning will come. And all of it will happen without you needing to make it happen, without you needing to hold it together, without you needing to be anything other than what you already are. A leaf on water, a breath in darkness, a small part of something infinite. Resting now, letting go now, trusting now. The river flows, you flow with it, and everything continues, and you can finally rest. The darkness is complete now, soft and thick like water, and you are floating in it, suspended in a place where there is no up or down, no before or after, just this gentle presence, this quiet being. Your body has disappeared, or perhaps it is still there, but you have stopped noticing it, stopped feeling the edges of yourself, stopped knowing where you end and the world begins. This is not frightening. This is peaceful, like becoming part of the air, part of the night, part of the silence that holds all sound. Somewhere in a temple courtyard, rain begins to fall, so softly at first that it makes no sound, just a change in the air, a coolness, a dampness. The drops touch the stone path one by one, and then more, and then many, until there is a gentle whisper of water meeting earth, water meeting leaves, water meeting the tiles on the temple roof. The monk sleeps through this rain. He does not hear it. His dreams have carried him somewhere else, somewhere without rain or temples, or even the memory of being a monk. He is simply consciousness moving through landscapes that have no names, meeting people who have no faces, feeling things that have no words. You drift like this too, your mind loosening its grip on the familiar, on the need to name things, to categorize them, to understand them. A thought appears, something about tomorrow, something you are supposed to remember, and it dissolves before it can form completely, like sugar in water, leaving only a faint sweetness, a trace, and then nothing. The rain falls on the river, and the river accepts it without changing, without rising, without acknowledgement. Each drop joins the flow, becomes part of the current, loses its separate existence, and becomes simply water, moving water, water that has always been moving and will always be moving. There was once a teacher who sat by a well, and when students came to ask him questions, he would lower a bucket into the darkness and draw up water. He would pour the water into their cupped hands and say nothing. Some students understood, some did not. Some drank the water and felt refreshed. Some let it spill through their fingers, confused, waiting for words that never came. The teaching was simple. The water is already water. You do not need to understand it to drink it. You do not need to explain it to be refreshed by it. You simply receive it. And it does what water does. And this is enough. You are receiving now. Not thoughts, not explanations, not understanding. Just this quiet presence, this gentle darkness, this sense of being held without knowing what is holding you. You are the student with cupped hands, and life is pouring itself into you moment by moment, breath by breath, and you do not need to understand it. You simply receive it. Your breathing has become so slow now that you barely notice it. The pause between breaths grows longer, and in that pause there is nothing, absolutely nothing, just a stillness so complete that it feels like the world has stopped, like time has stopped, like everything has stopped except this pure awareness, this quiet watching that needs nothing, wants nothing, fears nothing. A cat walks across the temple courtyard in the rain, its paws making no sound on the wet stones. It pauses under the eaves, shakes its head once, and continues on its way, unbothered by the water, unconcerned with where it is going. It moves because moving is what cats do, and when it is tired, it will stop, and when it is hungry, it will hunt. And none of it requires planning or worrying or controlling. You envy this cat for a moment, this simple being who lives without the weight of thoughts, without the burden of controlling the future. But then you realize you are not so different. Your body knows how to live without your constant supervision. Your heart beats without permission. Your breath flows without instruction. You are already like the cat, already living naturally, already doing what living things do. It is only your mind that tells you otherwise, so you let the mind quiet. You let the thoughts drift away, like rain into the river, like smoke into the sky, like footprints in sand when the tide comes in. They were there, and now they are not. And nothing is lost, nothing is damaged, nothing needs to be recovered. The rain continues steady now, a rhythm that has no beginning and no end, just this constant, gentle falling. The earth drinks it in, the leaves collect it and release it. The river carries it away, and none of it is wasted, none of it is wrong. All of it is exactly what rain does when it falls. You remember a time when you were a child and you lay in bed listening to rain on the roof, and you felt safe, completely safe, because someone else was taking care of everything. Someone else was making sure the house stood, the roof held, the world continued. You could just lie there and listen and drift and sleep. You have that feeling again now, not because someone is taking care of you, but because you are remembering how to trust, how to stop being the one who holds everything together, how to be the child again, the one who knows that the world is larger than their understanding, older than their life, capable of continuing without their constant vigilance. The monk's breath changes in his sleep, becomes deeper, slower, and in his dream he is standing in rain, letting it soak his robes, run down his face, and he is smiling, though he does not know why, just smiling, because the rain feels good, feels like being washed, feels like being returned to something essential, something clean and simple and true. You feel this washing too, as if the rain is falling inside you, washing away the accumulated dust of the day, the residue of worrying, the grime of trying too hard, the stains of thinking you need to be someone other than who you are. The rain washes through you, and you become clear, transparent, like glass, like water itself. There is a teaching about emptiness, but it is not the emptiness of having nothing. It is the emptiness of a cup that can be filled, of a room that can hold light, of a sky that can hold clouds and stars and sun and moon without being changed by any of them. This emptiness is not lack. It is capacity. It is readiness. It is the space where everything can happen. You are becoming this emptiness now, this spaciousness, this openness. You are not disappearing. You are expanding, growing larger, more capable of holding everything without being overwhelmed by anything. The worries can come, and there is room for them. The fears can visit, and they do not fill you completely. The joy can arrive, and it does not make you burst. You're vast enough to contain it all. The rain begins to slow, the drops becoming fewer, more spaced out, until there is just the sound of water dripping from leaves, from the temple eaves, from the edges of things. This after-rain quiet is different from the before-rain quiet. It is softer, cleaner, like the world has been rinsed and is now settling, drying, breathing. A dog in a nearby village stretches in its sleep, legs twitching, chasing something in a dream. Its breathing quickens for a moment, then slows again. The dream passes. The dog sinks deeper into sleep, into the place where there are no dreams, just rest, just the body repairing itself, just the mind releasing everything it held during the day. You sink with this dog, down past the dreams, past the images and stories, past the last whispers of thought, down into the deep rest, the place where consciousness becomes so quiet it is almost like not being conscious at all, except there is still something there, still some small awareness, like a single candle burning in a vast dark hall. This candle is not trying to light the whole hall. It is not struggling to push back the darkness. It simply burns, small and steady, and its smallness is not a weakness, but a perfection. It is exactly as much light as is needed, no more, no less. You are this candle now, this small, steady light in vast darkness, not trying to be more, not afraid of being small, just burning quietly, existing, being, without purpose beyond the fact of being. The temple is silent, except for the sound of water dripping. The monk sleeps. The cat has found a dry place and curled into itself, eyes closed, breathing slow. The candles that were lit earlier have all burned down to nothing, leaving only the scent of wax and smoke in the air. Outside, the night is beginning to thin, though dawn is still hours away. This is the deepest part of night, the hours when the world holds its breath, when even the restless things grow still, when the boundary between sleep and wake becomes so thin that it is possible to slip from one to the other without noticing. You slip like this now, between states, not quite asleep, not quite awake, just drifting in the gentle current of your own breath, your own heartbeat, your own quiet being. You do not know if you are the person lying down or the awareness watching the person lie down, and it does not matter. Both are true. Both are happening. You are the observer and the observed, the river and the leaf, the darkness and the small light within it. A story comes to you, though you are not sure if you're remembering it or dreaming it or inventing it. There was a teacher who told his students to spend a whole day doing nothing, not meditating, not practicing, not studying, just doing absolutely nothing. The students were confused. How can we do nothing? They asked. If we sit, that is doing something. If we lie down, that is doing something. If we think, that is doing something. The teacher smiled and said, then do not try to do nothing. Simply stop trying to do something. Stop trying to achieve, to become, to improve. Just be, for one day, whatever you already are, without adding anything, without taking anything away. The students tried this, and most of them failed. They could not stop trying. They could not stop reaching for something, even if that something was the idea of doing nothing. But one student understood. She went to her room, lay down, and allowed everything to be exactly as it was. Thoughts came, and she did not push them away. Thoughts left, and she did not call them back. Her body was comfortable, then uncomfortable, then comfortable again, and she did not change position to make it stay comfortable. She simply allowed everything to come and go, to rise and fall, to be and not be. And in this allowing, she found something she had been searching for all her life without knowing she was searching. She found rest. Not the rest of sleep, but the rest of no longer fighting, no longer resisting, no longer trying to make this moment different from what it is. You have found this rest too. You are lying in it now, breathing it, being it. You are not trying to sleep. You are not trying to stay awake. You are not trying to think or not think, to feel or not feel, to be or not be. You are simply here in this moment, which is already perfect, already complete, already exactly what it needs to be. The dripping water outside has almost stopped, just a few drops now, falling at long intervals, marking time without measuring it, making sound without trying to say anything. You listen to these drops, or you do not listen, and either way they fall, and either way the world continues, and either way you are held by this moment, this breath, this gentle darkness. The monk stirs slightly in his sleep, his lips moving as if he is speaking in his dream, but no sound comes out. His hands rest on his chest, rising and falling with his breath, and in the dim light of the moon coming through the window, he looks peaceful, unburdened, like a child, like someone who has never worried about anything. You look like this too, wherever you are, your face softened by sleep or near sleep, the lines of worry smoothed away, the tension in your jaw released, your forehead calm. You look like someone who has finally remembered how to let go, how to trust, how to rest. And you are this someone. You have always been this someone. You just forgot for a while, forgot in the busyness of days, in the weight of responsibilities, in the constant pressure to control and manage and hold everything together. But you are remembering now, in this quiet darkness, in this gentle space between waking and sleeping. You are remembering that you do not have to hold everything together. The world knows how to hold itself. The river knows how to flow. The leaves know how to fall. And you know how to rest, how to breathe, how to be, even if you forgot for a while. A bell rings somewhere, very distant, so faint you're not sure if you really heard it or if you imagined it. It rings once, a single clear note, and then silence. The sound travels through the night air, over fields and forests, past sleeping villages and quiet rivers, and it touches you just for a moment, like a hand on your shoulder, gentle, reassuring, reminding you that you are not alone, that others are awake somewhere, or sleeping somewhere, or standing somewhere in the darkness ringing bells for no reason except that it is time to ring bells. You are part of this world, this vast interconnected web of beings and things, all continuing, all moving, all being exactly what they are. You're not separate from it. You have never been separate from it. The illusion of separation is just another thing you can let go, another leaf you can place on the water. Your breath is barely noticeable now, just the smallest movement of air in and out, like the gentlest tide on the quietest shore. You could stop paying attention to it completely, could let it disappear into the background of awareness, and it would continue anyway, your body breathing you, the way the wind breathes through trees, the way the ocean breathes against the land. The night holds you, the darkness holds you, the silence holds you, and in this holding, you are completely safe, completely at rest, completely free to let go of everything you thought you needed to carry. The world continues, even when you stop. This is not a sad truth. This is a liberating truth. You can rest now. You can stop now. You can let everything be what it is. And in this letting, you find a peace that has been waiting for you all along, patient as stone, steady as rivers, quiet as the space between stars. And you rest in this peace. You become this peace. You are this peace, now and always, forever held by something larger than understanding, deeper than thought, older than fear. The river flows. The night deepens. You rest, and everything continues exactly as it should. The stillness has a texture now, soft like silk, cool like water, and you are wrapped in it completely. Time has stopped meaning anything. There might be hours left until morning, or only minutes, or perhaps morning has already come and gone and come again. And none of it touches you here in this place where you have settled, where you have finally allowed yourself to arrive. Your fingers are completely still, resting wherever they fell when your hands opened, releasing everything they were holding. You do not remember opening them. You do not remember the moment when you stopped gripping, but it happened. The way snow melts without announcing itself. The way night turns to dawn so gradually that there is no single moment you can point to and say, there, that is when it changed. A spider weaves a web in the corner of the temple, working in the darkness with a patience that knows nothing of hurry. Thread by thread, the pattern emerges perfect and symmetrical. And the spider does not think about the web, does not plan it, does not worry that it might not be strong enough. The spider simply spins, following an ancient knowledge written into its body, and the web appears, because this is what happens when a spider spins. You are like this spider now, creating something without knowing you are creating it, moving through this night without effort, without intention, just following the ancient knowledge written into your own body, the knowledge of how to rest, how to release, how to return to the simplest form of being. There is a pond somewhere beyond the temple, and on its surface, the moon is reflected, whole and bright and perfect. The actual moon is far above, distant and untouchable, but the reflection is here, close, shimmering on the water. A frog jumps, and the reflection breaks into 1,000 pieces, ripples spreading outward, and then, slowly, as the water settles, the moon gathers itself back together, becomes whole again, without effort, without needing to be fixed. You are this reflection, breaking and reforming, scattered and whole, constantly dissolving and constantly returning to yourself. The thoughts that troubled you earlier have broken apart like this reflected moon, and now they are settling, coming back together, but softer now, less solid, more like light on water than stone. The monk's dream has changed. He is no longer in the garden. Now he is walking on a path that has no end, through a landscape that keeps transforming, mountains becoming valleys, forests becoming deserts. And he is not lost because there is nowhere he is trying to go. He simply walks, and the path continues. And this is enough. You walk with him, or perhaps you are him, or perhaps you are the path itself. unchanging beneath the changing landscape, always here, always present, always leading nowhere and everywhere at once. The distinction between walker and path has dissolved, the way salt dissolves in water, becoming part of everything, no longer separate, no longer itself. A teaching surfaces in your mind, gentle as a bubble rising to the surface of still water. It says that when you stop dividing the world into this and that, into me and not me, into what I want and what I don't want, then everything becomes simple again, becomes clear, becomes just what it is, without the weight of judgment, without the burden of preference. You practice this now without trying, without calling it practice. A sound arises somewhere, perhaps a night bird, perhaps the wind, perhaps nothing at all, just your mind creating sound from silence. You do not decide if you like it or dislike it. You do not wonder what it means. It is simply sound, and then it is gone, and you are simply here, and then you are drifting, and all of it is the same. All of it is this one continuous movement of existence, breathing itself, being itself. The rain has stopped completely now, but the world still holds the memory of it, the dampness in the air, the smell of wet earth, the heaviness of water-soaked leaves. This memory will fade too, as everything fades, as everything passes, and something else will come. Dryness, or more rain, or wind, or stillness, and the world will hold that too, without complaint, without resistance. You are learning this holding, this acceptance of what comes and what goes. Your body holds your breath for a moment, releases it, holds the next one, releases it over and over, never clinging to any breath, never pushing any away, just this constant rhythm of receiving and releasing, taking in and letting go. There was a student who asked her teacher, "How do I know when I have let go?" The teacher picked up a stone and held it out over a pond. The student watched. The teacher opened her hand, and the stone fell into the water with a soft splash. The teacher said, "You will know you have let go when you're no longer holding." The student said, "But how do I stop holding?" The teacher smiled and said, "You do not stop holding. You simply notice that you are holding, and in that noticing, the hand opens by itself. Your hands have opened by themselves. You did not decide to open them. You simply noticed that you were holding, noticed the tension, the effort, the tightness, and in that noticing, something released, something softened, something let go. This is happening throughout your whole body now, this gentle releasing. Your jaw, which you did not know was clenched, relaxes. Your shoulders, which were carrying weight you could not name, drop slightly, settling into a more natural position. Your belly, which was held tight against some imagined threat, softens and expands with each breath. The world breathes you. You do not breathe the world. This is the secret that the sleeping monk knows, that the spider knows, that the river has always known. You are not the one making things happen. You are the place where things happen, the space where life unfolds, the opening through which existence pours itself, moment after moment after moment. A mouse moves through the temple, tiny feet whispering across the floor, nose twitching, ears alert. It is looking for crumbs from the monk's evening meal, and it finds one, just a small piece of rice, and it sits very still, holding the rice in its small paws, eating slowly, completely absorbed in this moment, this rice, this satisfying of hunger. When the rice is gone, the mouse does not mourn it, does not wish for more, does not remember it with longing. The mouse simply moves on, continues its search, present to whatever comes next, living in a continuous now that knows nothing of regret or anticipation. You are becoming like this mouse, living in the continuous now, not because you are trying to live in the now, but because you have forgotten how to live anywhere else. The past has faded like morning mist. The future has not yet formed. There is only this breath, this moment, this sensation of existing, and it is enough, more than enough. It is everything. The spider has finished its web and now sits in the center, waiting, but not the way humans wait. Filled with impatience and expectation, the spider simply is, present to the night, to the air, to the possibility of prey and the possibility of nothing. Both the same, both acceptable, both just another moment of being a spider in a web, in a temple, in the darkness. You sit in the center of your own web, the web of your awareness, and everything that touches it, you feel. But you do not grab, do not chase, do not hold. A thought touches the web, and you feel it, and it passes through. A sensation touches the web, and you notice it, and it fades. A memory, a dream, a fragment of something that might be sleep or might be waking, all of it touches the web and passes through, and you remain here in the center, still, quiet, aware. The moon has moved across the sky, though you have not seen it move, could not say when it left one position and arrived in another. It simply travels, constant in its movement, appearing still because its motion is so steady, so inevitable, so completely, without hesitation or doubt. Your breath moves like this moon, constant and invisible, changing everything while appearing to change nothing, marking time without measuring it, creating rhythm without trying to create anything. A bird wakes somewhere, though dawn is still far off. It shifts on its branch, tucks its head under its wing differently, settles again into sleep. Perhaps it dreamed of flying, and the dream disturbed it briefly. Or perhaps something moved in the darkness below, a fox or a cat, and the bird's ancient instincts pulled it slightly toward waking before allowing it to sink back down into rest. You shift like this bird, moving between depths of rest, rising slightly toward the surface of consciousness, then sinking again, and each time you sink, you go a little deeper, a little further from the world of names and forms, a little closer to the vast quiet that exists beneath everything, the stillness that holds all movement, the silence that contains all sound. There is a well near the temple, very old, its stones worn smooth by countless hands drawing water, and in the daytime, if you drop a pebble into it, you wait a long time before you hear the splash, so deep is the water, so far below the surface. At night, the well is just a dark circle in the ground, and if you stood beside it, you would feel the coolness rising from its depths, the breath of the earth itself, exhaling into the night. You're descending into this well, or perhaps you are the well itself, dark and deep and cool, holding water that has been underground for years, for centuries, water that has never seen sunlight, that knows nothing of the surface world, that simply exists in the darkness, pure and still and ancient. The monk's breathing has become so quiet that if someone entered his room, they might think he was not breathing at all, might lean close to check, to listen, to make sure he was still alive. But he is alive, deeply alive, resting in a place where life does not announce itself, does not perform, does not prove anything, just continues, silent and certain as stone. You rest in this place with him, breathing so quietly that you are not sure if you are breathing or being breathed, if your heart is beating or being beaten, if you exist as a separate thing, or if you have dissolved completely into the darkness, into the silence, into the vast, quiet presence that holds everything and is troubled by nothing. A cat somewhere cries out, a sudden sharp sound in the stillness, perhaps seeing something, perhaps caught in a dream, perhaps just expressing something that needs no reason. The sound cuts through the night and fades, and the silence that returns is deeper than the silence before, enriched by the sound it held, the way soil is enriched by rain. You have become this silence, this deep receptive quiet that can hold anything, any sound, any thought, any feeling, and remain unchanged, remain itself, remain vast and empty and full all at once. The web trembles slightly as something touches it, perhaps a moth, perhaps just a breeze, and the spider feels this trembling and knows and does not move, not yet, just waits, sensing, understanding something about the touch, about whether it means food or danger or nothing at all. The trembling stops. The spider remains still. The web settles back into its perfect geometry. Your own web of awareness trembles like this sometimes, touched by something, a memory trying to form, a dream beginning to take shape, and you feel it the way the spider feels the web, and you remain still, and the trembling passes, and you settle again into this deep rest, this profound letting go. There was a teacher who never spoke, who sat in silence day after day while students came and went, asking questions that received no answers, seeking wisdom that was never given in words. One day, after many years, a student said, "I understand now." The teacher smiled but said nothing, and the student left and never returned. Not because the teaching was complete, but because the student had finally learned to stop asking, to stop seeking, to simply be present to what was already here, always here, never hidden, never far away. You have stopped asking. You have stopped seeking. The questions that drove you here, that kept you awake, that made you reach and grasp and try to understand, they have all dissolved like sugar in water, sweetening the whole, but no longer visible, no longer separate, no longer questions at all. What remains is this sweetness, this quiet presence, this sense of being exactly where you need to be, exactly who you need to be, exactly what you have always been, beneath all the trying, all the becoming, all the endless effort to be something other than this. The mouse has stopped searching and curled up in a corner, tiny body rising and falling with sleep breath, whiskers still, paws tucked in. It has found enough. It is satisfied. It rests without thinking about tomorrow, without planning the next search, without any thought at all, just the simple animal peace of a body at rest. You curl into yourself like this mouse, not physically, but in some deeper way, gathering yourself in, becoming small and quiet and safe, protected not by walls or defenses, but by this very smallness, this willingness to be nothing important, nothing significant, just another small breathing thing in a world full of breathing things, all of us resting, all of us held by this night, this earth, this vast indifferent kindness that asks nothing and gives everything. The darkness is complete now, absolute, and you are part of it, dissolving into it, becoming it. And there is no fear in this dissolving, only relief, only the deep satisfaction of finally arriving nowhere, of finally being nothing, of finally resting in the vast, spacious emptiness that has been waiting for you all along, patient as the earth, quiet as the center of the ocean, still as the space between stars. And you rest here, finally, completely, without end, without beginning, without anything at all except this quiet presence, this gentle being, this breath that breathes itself in the darkness, this life that lives itself without trying, this moment that holds all moments and is held by nothing, just existing, just being, just this, just now, just rest. The temple floor is cool stone, centuries old, and somewhere a cricket begins to sing, a single repeating note that rises and falls in the darkness. The sound is so small, so simple, yet it fills the entire night, becomes the only thing, and then becomes nothing, just background, just another thread in the fabric of silence. You have forgotten your name, not deliberately, not as an exercise, but simply because there has been no need for it, no one calling you, no reason to distinguish yourself from the darkness, from the quiet, from the vast anonymous presence that breathes through all things. Without your name, you are lighter, less defined, more like water than stone, more like air than earth. A century ago, a monk sat in this same temple, perhaps in the same room, breathing the same air, listening to the same sounds. The ancestors of this cricket, the descendants of ancient rains. That monk is gone now, returned to dust, to earth, to the elements that formed him, and yet something of his sitting remains, some echo, some residue of attention, of presence, of a human being learning to be still. You sit in this echo, or perhaps you create your own echo for someone a century from now, someone who will sit where you are sitting, who will breathe as you are breathing, who will discover what you are discovering, that there is no difference between sitting and being sat, between breathing and being breathed, between existing and being existence itself. The spider's web catches something, a small moth perhaps, and there is a brief struggle, movement in the web, trembling threads, and then stillness. Life consuming life to continue life, the endless cycle, and there is no cruelty in it, no malice, just the way things are, the way they have always been, the moth becoming spider, the spider eventually becoming earth, the earth becoming plant, the plant becoming moth, around and around. Nothing lost, nothing gained, just transformation, endless transformation. You are transforming now, though you cannot say into what. The person who lay down hours ago is not the person here now. Something has shifted, settled, released. You are becoming more yourself by becoming less yourself, more present by disappearing, more alive by letting go of the effort to live. There is a story about a raindrop falling from the sky, terrified because it knows that when it hits the ocean, it will disappear, will cease to be a raindrop, will lose its individual existence. But an older raindrop falling beside it says, "You're not losing yourself, you're finding yourself. You were always ocean. You just forgot for a moment while you were falling. You are this raindrop falling toward the ocean, and the moment of impact is approaching. Or perhaps it has already happened. Perhaps you have already dissolved into the vast water, and this falling is just a dream the ocean is having, a brief fantasy of separation before remembering its own wholeness. The monk turns in his sleep again, and his hand falls open, palm up, fingers slightly curved, and in that open palm there is something beautiful, something that speaks without words about receiving, about acceptance, about being ready for whatever comes, without grasping, without pushing away. Your own hands rest like this, open, empty, and in their emptiness they are full, capable of holding anything, capable of releasing everything. Just hands, just flesh and bone and skin, but also somehow more than that, also gestures, also symbols, also the physical manifestation of this inner opening, this willingness to let the world pass through you without resistance. The cricket stops singing. The silence that follows is so deep, you can almost feel it pressing against your skin, against your ears, filling your mouth, your lungs, your entire body, becoming silence, becoming the absence of sound, becoming the space where sound could exist, but chooses not to. Not yet. Not now. In this silence, you hear something else, something that has no sound, the hum of existence itself, the vibration of being, the barely perceptible frequency of life continuing, cells dividing, blood flowing, planets turning, stars burning, all of it happening at once. All of it creating a music that is not music, a song that is not song, just the pure fact of things existing, being, continuing. A door somewhere in the temple complex opens and closes very softly. Someone going to the bathroom perhaps, or unable to sleep, walking the halls, seeking some ease, some comfort in movement. You hear the footsteps, quiet, careful, trying not to wake others, and then they fade, and the door closes again, and whoever it was returns to their room, to their bed, to their own private darkness. You think of all the people in the world right now, lying in beds, on floors, on the ground, some sleeping peacefully, some restless, some afraid, some in pain, some in joy, billions of bodies breathing, billions of hearts beating, and all of you connected by this simple fact of being alive, of being here, of participating in existence, whether you want to or not, whether you understand it or not. This connection is not sentimental. It is not about love or compassion in the way those words are usually used. It is something more basic, more fundamental, like the connection between water molecules in the ocean, each one distinct but not separate, each one itself, but also part of the whole. Impossible to isolate without changing what it is. You are a water molecule in the ocean of existence, and right now, in this moment, you are deep down in the dark, cold layers where no light reaches, where pressure is immense, where everything moves slowly, where nothing hurries, where time itself seems to stop or at least slow to something barely recognizable as time. The mouse dreams in its corner, tiny paws twitching, perhaps running from a cat, perhaps running toward food, perhaps just running because running is what mice do in dreams. The dream will not be remembered when the mouse wakes. It will not be analyzed or interpreted or given meaning. It will simply dissolve back into the darkness it came from, like foam dissolving on water. Your dreams are dissolving like this, the dreams you had for your life, for who you would become, for what you would accomplish. Not dying, not failing, just dissolving, losing their urgency, their weight, their power to define you. What remains when dreams dissolve is not emptiness, but spaciousness, not loss, but freedom, not the end of something, but the beginning of being undefined, unlimited, uncontained by the story you thought you were living. A wind rises outside, gentle, barely strong enough to move the leaves, but you hear it, the softest whisper of air, moving through trees, over roofs, across the surface of the pond, where the moon's reflection has long since disappeared, hidden behind clouds, or below the horizon, gone but not lost, just waiting to return. The way everything returns, the way everything circles back, nothing truly ending, nothing truly beginning, just continuous transformation, continuous becoming. The Buddha once said that trying to find the beginning of existence is like trying to find the edge of the sky. You can keep looking, keep searching, but there is always more sky, always further to go. And eventually you understand that the searching itself is the problem, that the edge does not exist, that beginnings and endings are just concepts we impose on something that has no edges, no borders, no boundaries except the ones we imagine. You have stopped searching for the beginning, stopped trying to understand how you got here, who you were before, what started all of this. You are simply here now, and this here-ness, this now-ness, is complete in itself, needs no explanation, no history, no story to make it real. The spider waits in its web, and the waiting is not waiting, because there is no sense of time passing, no impatience, no expectation, just being in the web, being the spider, being the stillness that allows movement to be noticed when it comes. You wait like this spider, except you're not waiting for anything. You're just being, and in this being, there is no boredom, no restlessness, no need for stimulation or distraction or anything to happen at all. The moment is enough. This breath is enough. This darkness is enough. Somewhere far away, the ocean continues its rhythm, waves rising and falling, and even though you cannot hear it, you feel it somehow, as if your body remembers being in the ocean, being of the ocean, being ocean itself before you were born into this particular form, this particular life. The salt in your blood is the same salt as in the sea. The water in your cells is the same water that has been cycling through clouds and rivers and oceans for billions of years. You are not separate from the world. You are the world, temporarily organized into this pattern called you, this brief configuration of elements that will one day unconfigure, return to their sources, become other things, other beings, other forms. This is not sad. This is not frightening. This is just what is, and in accepting what is, you find a peace that does not depend on things being different, does not require circumstances to change, does not need tomorrow to be better than today. The monk's dream shifts again, and now he is not in any place at all, just floating in a kind of formless awareness. And he knows he is dreaming, and he knows he is sleeping, and he knows he is also somehow awake, watching himself dream, watching himself sleep. And none of these states contradict each other. They all exist simultaneously, all true, all false, all just different ways of describing something that cannot really be described. You float in this same formless awareness, and you are not sure if you are awake or asleep, if you are thinking or dreaming, if you are still in your body or if you have expanded beyond it. And the uncertainty does not trouble you, does not create anxiety, just exists as another sensation, another experience passing through the vast space of your awareness. A bat flies past the temple, navigating by sound, by the echoes of its own high-pitched calls bouncing off trees and buildings and the ground. The bat does not see the world the way you see it. The bat hears the world into existence, creates a reality made of sound and echo and the space between them. Who is to say which reality is more real, more true, more accurate? You begin to sense that reality is not fixed, not objective, not the same for everyone. Reality is what consciousness creates when it interacts with whatever is actually here. And different consciousnesses create different realities, all of them valid, all of them true, all of them just different ways of organizing the fundamental mystery into something that can be experienced, navigated, lived. The candle that burned earlier has left a small pool of wax on the altar, and in the darkness, this wax is cooling, hardening, becoming solid again, and the shape it takes as it cools is random, determined by tiny variations in temperature, in air currents, in the invisible forces that shape everything without being seen, without being noticed. Your life has cooled like this wax, taken a shape that feels random, feels like it could have been otherwise, and perhaps it could have been, perhaps in another universe, another timeline, another version of reality. You took a different shape, made different choices, became a different person. But in this universe, in this timeline, in this reality, you are this shape, and fighting against it, wishing it were different, imagining other possibilities, none of that changes what is, what has already cooled, what has already hardened into form. But you are not just the wax, you are also the flame that melted it, the heat that made transformation possible. You are not just the form, you are also the formless, the space that allows forms to exist, the awareness that watches forms arise and dissolve and arise again. The cricket begins singing again, or perhaps it never stopped. Perhaps you just stopped hearing it, your attention moving elsewhere, and now it returns, the same note, the same rhythm, eternal and temporary, ancient and new, just sound, just vibration, just molecules of air being pushed and pulled in patterns that your ear interprets as song. You are being pushed and pulled like these air molecules, shaped by forces you do not control, vibrating at frequencies determined by genetics, by history, by culture, by the particular configuration of atoms that makes you you. But you're also the space through which these vibrations move, the silence that makes sound possible, the stillness that allows movement to exist. A teaching says that form is emptiness and emptiness is form. And for years, this was just words, just philosophy, just something to think about. But now, lying here in the darkness, dissolving into the night, you understand it not with your mind, but with your whole being. You are both something and nothing, both here and nowhere, both alive and already gone. And all of these contradictions are true, are real, are just different aspects of the same underlying reality. The mouse's heart beats tiny and fast, a different rhythm than your heart, a different speed, a different intensity, but still a heart, still doing what hearts do, pumping blood, sustaining life, creating the physical possibility for consciousness to exist in a body, in a form, in this world of forms. Your heart beats without you, for you, as you. It is both servant and master, both yours and not yours, both you and separate from you. Where do you end and your heart begin? Where does your heart end and your blood begin? Where does your blood end and the oxygen it carries begin? There are no clear boundaries, no sharp divisions, just continuous gradation, everything bleeding into everything else. No edges, no separation, just this vast interconnected process temporarily experiencing itself as separate, as individual, as you. The night is old now, wearing itself out, moving toward that moment when it will tip over into day, when darkness will begin its slow retreat, when light will return and restore the world of visible things, of clear boundaries, of apparent separations. But that moment is not yet here. You are still held by the night, still wrapped in its forgetfulness, still dissolved in its darkness. And in this dissolution, you are more yourself than you have ever been, more real, more present, more alive, because you have stopped trying to be anything, stopped performing yourself, stopped maintaining the complicated structure of identity and preference and opinion and memory that usually passes for you. What remains when all of that falls away is not nothing. It is everything. It is the pure awareness that exists before thought, before name, before the world divides into this and that, me and not me, wanted and unwanted. It is simply here-ness, now-ness, is-ness, being itself, naked and unadorned and complete. And you rest in this completeness, this wholeness, this perfect, imperfect moment that asks nothing of you except that you allow it to be. Allow yourself to be. Allow everything to be exactly what it already is, what it has always been, what it cannot be otherwise. The world continues. You continue. And there is no difference between the two. The stone floor beneath you has become indistinguishable from your own body, or perhaps your body has become stone, cool and ancient and patient. You cannot remember when you last felt your edges, the place where skin meets air, where self meets world. These boundaries have blurred, softened, disappeared into a kind of gentle merging that requires no effort, no decision, just happens the way water seeps into sand, slowly, completely, inevitably. A single drop of water falls somewhere in the temple, perhaps from the roof where rain collected, perhaps from a leak in an old pipe, perhaps from nowhere at all. Just the sound of falling reaching your ears from a great distance. The drop falls through darkness, through silence, and when it lands, it makes the smallest sound, barely audible, and then it spreads, seeps into whatever surface caught it, disappears into the world. You are this drop, falling through the darkness of sleep or near sleep, and when you land, you will spread, seep, disappear, but not into nothing, into everything, into the vast receptive surface of existence itself, which accepts all drops, all rain, all rivers, all oceans, accepts everything, without question, without judgment, without even the concept of acceptance. Just receives because receiving is what surfaces do when something falls upon them. The monk's breathing has changed again, become even slower, and now there are long pauses between breaths, moments when nothing moves, when his body seems to have forgotten breathing entirely. And then, just when it seems he might not breathe again, the breath returns, gentle, inevitable, like tide coming back to shore. You breathe like this now, or perhaps you do not breathe at all. Perhaps breathing has become something that happens somewhere nearby, but not exactly to you, not exactly in you, just a process occurring in the general area of your awareness, important but distant, necessary but not urgent. Just another thing the universe is doing, like stars burning, like stones sitting, like time passing, without anyone measuring it. There is a window in the temple, and through it, if you could see, if you were looking, you would notice the quality of darkness beginning to shift. Not lighter yet, not dawn, but a subtle change in the texture of night, a thinning, a preparation for transformation. But you are not looking. Your eyes have been closed for so long that you have forgotten the difference between closed and open, between seeing and not seeing. A fox crosses the temple grounds, silent on padded feet, nose to the ground, searching for mice, for voles, for anything small and edible in the darkness. The fox does not think about searching. The fox does not make plans or set goals or worry about success or failure. The fox simply moves through the night doing what foxes do, and if food appears, the fox eats. And if food does not appear, the fox continues moving, and either way, the fox is completely itself, completely present, completely alive in this moment. That is the only moment the fox has ever known. You have become like this fox, moving through the night of your own consciousness without plan or purpose. And when thoughts appear, you notice them the way the fox might notice a sound in the underbrush, with interest but without attachment. And if the thoughts lead somewhere, you follow for a moment. And if they dissolve into nothing, you continue on. And either way, you remain yourself, remain present, remain alive in this eternal now. The spider has left its web and is walking across the ceiling upside down, held by forces you cannot see, cannot understand. Just trust the way the spider trusts, the way everything trusts without knowing it is trusting, the way stones trust gravity, the way plants trust light, the way your heart trusts its own rhythm without needing to be convinced. What would it mean to trust like this? To move through life held by invisible forces upside down, seemingly defying the rules, but actually following deeper rules, older rules, rules written into the fabric of existence itself? You're learning this trust now, lying here in the darkness, held by you know not what, breathing you know not how, existing you know not why, and finding that the not knowing is not a problem, not a deficit, not something to be solved, just the way it is, just the truth of being alive in a mysterious universe. A memory surfaces, or perhaps it is a dream, or perhaps it is something that never happened, but feels true anyway. You are a child, very small, lying in a bed too big for you, and someone is sitting nearby. Perhaps your mother, perhaps your father, perhaps someone else. And their presence is enough. Their breathing is enough. Their simple being, there is enough to make you feel safe, to allow you to drift toward sleep without fear, without resistance. You have this presence with you now, not a person, but something larger, older, more fundamental. The presence of the earth beneath you, the presence of the air around you, the presence of the darkness holding you, the presence of existence itself. Just being here, just being present, asking nothing, requiring nothing, just silently, constantly, infinitely here. The mouse wakes for a moment, lifts its head, listens to the silence, finds nothing threatening, nothing interesting, and settles back into sleep. The waking just a brief interruption, a momentary surfacing before diving again into the depths of rest. You surface like this sometimes, awareness brightening slightly, noticing that you still exist, that your body is still here, that the night continues, and then you sink again, down into deeper waters, darker places, quieter spaces. There is a well-worn path from the temple to the garden, walked by 10,000 feet over decades, over centuries, and the path knows the shape of feet has been formed by them, shaped by their constant passing. And now the path guides feet, tells them where to step, makes walking easier, makes the journey from temple to garden almost automatic. The feet following the path following the feet, in a circle that has no beginning. Your thoughts move on paths like this, worn smooth by repetition, by habit, by the constant traffic of familiar patterns, and usually these paths feel like prison, like limitation, like being trapped in the same loops forever. But tonight, lying here in the darkness, you notice that you are not on the paths. You are watching the paths from somewhere else, somewhere above or beyond or beneath them. And from this perspective, they are not prisons. They are just paths, just patterns, just the shape your mind has taken through years of living. And there is a kind of beauty in them, a kind of perfection in their well-worn familiarity. The wind outside has stopped completely. The air is perfectly still, holding its breath, waiting for something, though what it waits for cannot be named. Perhaps it waits for dawn. Perhaps it waits for more rain. Perhaps it waits for nothing. And the waiting is not waiting, but just the natural pause between movements, the rest between breaths, the silence between sounds. You rest in this pause with the wind, between breaths, between thoughts, between moments of being something and moments of being nothing. And in this between place, there is a quality of freshness, of possibility, of anything could happen next, but also of being complete right now, of not needing anything to happen next, of this pause being enough, being perfect, being exactly what this moment is. A cat somewhere has caught something, a mouse perhaps, or a small bird, and there is a brief cry, sharp and final, and then silence again. Life feeding on life, death making life possible, the endless exchange of energy and matter and form. The cat does not feel guilty. The mouse or bird does not feel wronged. It is simply what happens, simply the way things are, simply the dance of existence eating itself to continue existing. You are being eaten like this, consumed by time, by change, by the constant transformation that turns yesterday's you into today's you, into tomorrow's you. And none of these yous are the same, none of them permanent. All of them just temporary configurations of matter and energy and consciousness, appearing, lasting a moment, disappearing, making room for the next version, the next form, the next brief flowering of being. But there is something in you that is not being eaten, something that watches the eating, that remains unchanged while everything changes, that exists outside of time while living in time. This something has no name, no form, no location. It is not a soul, not a self, not a thing at all. It is more like a capacity, a spaciousness, an opening through which experience flows without leaving any trace, without creating any residue, just pure experiencing, pure awareness, pure being. The monk dreams that he is awake, sitting in meditation, perfectly still, perfectly present, and in the dream he achieves a state of clarity so profound that he sees through everything, sees the emptiness behind form, the silence behind sound, the stillness behind movement. And then he wakes and realizes he is lying in bed, has been sleeping, and the perfect clarity was just a dream. Or was it? Is this waking more real than the dream? Is the clarity in the dream less true because it occurred in sleep? You dissolve this question like salt in water. Let it spread and disappear without needing to answer it, without needing to know what is dream and what is waking, what is real and what is illusion. Perhaps everything is dream. Perhaps everything is waking. Perhaps real and illusion are just two words pointing at something that cannot be divided, cannot be separated, cannot be understood by thinking about it. A bell rings somewhere, so distant it might be in another village, another valley, another world entirely. The sound reaches you across miles of darkness, thin and clear and pure, and you receive it the way the earth receives rain, without preference, without judgment, just allowing it to arrive, allowing it to touch you, allowing it to fade back into silence. The sound fades, but something remains, a kind of resonance, a vibration in the air or in your awareness or in the space between them. This resonance is not the bell and not the silence, but something that includes both, that arises from their meeting, their interaction, their dance. You are this resonance, this vibration, this thing that is not a thing, but a relationship, a meeting, a dance between consciousness and world, between awareness and experience, between nothing and everything. You are not one or the other. You are the space where they meet, the moment when they touch, the place where separation dissolves into union. The cricket has stopped singing again, or perhaps it has been quiet for a long time, and you are only now noticing its absence. The silence where its song was feels different than the silence before its song began, feels shaped by the song, carved out by it, made deeper by having held sound and released it. Your awareness is like this silence, shaped by everything it has held, carved out by all the experiences that have passed through it, made deeper by having contained so much life, so much thought, so much feeling. But the shaping does not change what you fundamentally are, does not alter the basic nature of awareness itself, just gives it character, texture, depth. A spider's web cannot be seen in the darkness, but it is still there, still perfectly formed, still waiting, still serving its purpose, even though no eye observes it, no light reveals it. The web exists in darkness the same as in light, complete in itself, needing no witness, no acknowledgement, no appreciation. You exist like this web, complete in darkness, whole without being seen, real without being observed, valid without being acknowledged. The watching of others does not make you more real. The attention of the world does not make you more yourself. You are complete in your own being, in your own awareness, in your own simple fact of existing. The monk's hand has moved slightly in his sleep, and now it rests palm down on his chest, rising and falling with his breath. And in this simple gesture there is something that speaks of protection, of self-comfort, of the body knowing how to care for itself, even in sleep, even in unconsciousness, even when the conscious mind has let go of all control. Your body cares for itself like this, breathing when you forget to breathe, healing when you do not notice injury, maintaining balance, temperature, rhythm, all without your conscious participation, all without your permission, just doing what bodies do, what they have always done, what they will continue to do until the moment they stop. And when they stop, what then? Where do you go when the body that has carried you falls away? The question arises and dissolves like a bubble on water, not because it is not important, but because it cannot be answered by the mind asking it, cannot be known by the consciousness wondering about it, can only be discovered by experiencing it, by actually dying, by actually making that transition from form to formlessness. But in a way you are dying now, dying to this day, to this version of yourself, to this particular configuration of thoughts and feelings and sensations. Every moment is a small death, every breath an ending and a beginning, every heartbeat a closing and an opening. You have died 1,000 times today, and you have been born 1,000 times, and you will die, and be born 1,000 more times before morning comes. A mouse runs across the floor, urgent suddenly, chased by something or chasing something, or just possessed by the sudden energy that sometimes comes to small creatures in the night. Its tiny feet patter across the stone, and then it is gone, disappeared into a hole in the wall, into safety or danger, or just into the next moment of its small, mysterious life. You run like this mouse sometimes, urgent without knowing why, possessed by energy that seems to come from outside you, driven by forces you do not understand and cannot control. But right now, lying here in the darkness, you're not running. You are completely still. And in this stillness, you remember that you do not have to run, do not have to chase or flee, can simply be here, simply rest, simply exist without purpose or direction or goal. The temple is a container for silence, its thick walls holding the quiet the way a cup holds water. And you are inside this container, inside this silence, held by it, shaped by it, dissolved into it. The walls do not create the silence. The silence was always here. The walls just make a space where the silence can be noticed, can be felt, can be entered into completely. Your body is a container like this temple, and your awareness is the silence it holds, always present, always here, just usually unnoticed because of the noise, the movement, the constant activity of living. But now, in this deep rest, the noise has quieted, the movement has stilled, and the silence that was always here becomes apparent, becomes obvious, becomes the only thing, the main thing, the fundamental thing. A cloud passes in front of stars you cannot see, blocking light you are not aware of, and the darkness remains dark, unchanged, unaffected. What difference does it make if one darkness passes in front of another darkness? What changes when invisible things move through invisible space? Yet something is changing, even in this darkness, even in this stillness. You are changing, transforming, becoming something you cannot name, cannot picture, cannot understand with the mind that is doing the changing. It is like watching a caterpillar become a butterfly, except you are the caterpillar, you are the chrysalis, you are the becoming itself. And there is no outside perspective from which to observe the transformation. The fox has found food somewhere out in the darkness, and it eats quickly, efficiently, without ceremony or gratitude, just taking in energy, sustaining itself, continuing its own existence for another day. The mouse or vole or whatever it was is gone now, transformed into fox. Its molecules and atoms becoming part of a different pattern, a different form, a different expression of the same underlying energy that flows through everything. You will be transformed like this eventually, eaten by the earth, by bacteria, by the processes of decay and dissolution. And you will become soil, become grass, become deer, become mountain lion, become cloud, become rain, become river, become ocean. And in none of these forms will there be anything called you. And yet, in all of them, something that was you continues, participates, exists. But this is not sad. This is not loss. This is just the way energy moves through forms, never created, never destroyed, just endlessly transforming, endlessly dancing, endlessly expressing itself in new patterns, new configurations, new temporary organizations that arise and dissolve and arise again. The darkness is beginning to thin now, though you cannot see it, cannot measure it, can only sense it somehow, the way animals sense coming weather, the way plants sense changing seasons, through mechanisms too subtle for conscious awareness, too deep for thought, just a knowing that comes from being part of the world rather than separate from it. Soon the night will end. Soon light will return. Soon you will have to rise, to move, to become again the person who acts and chooses and navigates the world of forms, but not yet. For now, you rest in this thinning darkness, this moment between night and dawn, this pause between sleep and waking, this space where you are neither one thing nor another, just awareness itself, just presence itself, just being itself. And in this being, there is everything you have ever sought, everything you have ever needed, everything you have ever been, not because you have found something new, but because you have finally stopped looking, finally stopped seeking, finally stopped trying to become something other than what you already are, have always been, will always be. The world continues, the night fades, you rest, and in this rest, you are complete.